Good, Katie.
Perfect.
All right. So, welcome everyone. It's great to see all of your faces. I can't wait to see you guys in person again. And thanks for being here on this call tonight to understand the protocols that we're implementing to ultimately create a great environment to practice yoga in, and for everyone to feel safe and so in doing this, over the last few months, I've consulted 4 doctors that we have that are students at the studio. And each of the 4 doctors, one is a pediatrician, one is an anesthesiologist that's also into regenerative medicine, one is an integrative medicine doctor, Alan Weiss, and another is a retired Navy doctor who's doing all kinds of different things with medicine right now. So when I talked to these 4 different doctors, they all had similar things that we should change at the studio. And then they each had a little bit of a different thought on what they felt would make them feel comfortable. My thought in asking them this and consulting with them is, if doctors feel comfortable coming in and practicing yoga in the space, then that makes me feel better about practicing in the space and having you guys practice in the spaces. So I would like to just read this so that way I don't miss any points. If you just want to jot down some thoughts while I'm reading this, and I'll take any questions after, that would be great. So here it is. And if you miss any part of this, this will also be on the website probably tomorrow, and in a place where everyone can see. So here it is. We are excited to open our doors again, and we want you to be informed of the changes we've made. As we move forward with reopening, please let us know ideas about how to keep our yogi community safe, and we will strongly consider them. This is important because while we can't implement every change that every student suggests, we do want to hear what your concerns are, and we want to consider them strongly. So moving on. To determine how to modify our studio and interactions within the space, we are exceeding the standards for gyms as recommended by the state and federal guidance. I've also spoken with 4 doctors, all longtime students who understand the current challenge of creating a safe protocol for yoga classes. However, everyone must understand that no matter how much we try to reduce the threat of contracting coronavirus, your participation in class may increase your exposure. So first, let me show you. Let me discuss a couple items that you'll see when you first come back. You'll see UV lights in all the yoga rooms, and they do not run during class. They run when class is not in session. But these UV lights help to eliminate bacteria, viruses, mold spores, and allergy-inducing microorganisms. We've placed one in each yoga room, and they run when class is not in session. Also, this is not in the script, but I'm also working on having a kind of UV light system within our HVAC system, and I don't know all the details about that yet. This is something I'm working on with the Crofton landlord, and if it works out, and I think it's worth it, then I would like to install it in both yoga rooms in Annapolis as well. So that's another aspect of the UV light that we're working on. We've also strengthened our cleaning solutions by using a mixture of hydrogen peroxide and Thieves essential oils. You'll probably smell these as soon as you walk in. So along with disinfecting surfaces and yoga mats, these oils boost the immune system, promote respiratory health, and fight microbes. For now, no, bring your own yoga mat. We're not going to be renting yoga mats. So that's a good thing to know when you guys come in. We've also changed how we will handle sign-in. Sign-in will not be at the desk. Most likely, the teacher will come outside and sign you in on his or her phone. So we're asking everyone to sign in ahead of time. And to sign in ahead of time, you have to have a current membership. So make sure you sign in ahead of time for all classes. The minimum in the Annapolis speaker room is, the maximum in the Annapolis speaker room is 7. The maximum in the Annapolis Vinyasa room is 15. The maximum in the Crofton room is 20. So, but even if you go to the Crofton studio and you think to yourself, oh, it's always like 5, 6, or 7 people, I don't know if it's going to be like that when we reopen. So just to be on the safe side, get used to signing up ahead of time, just to make it easier on all of us, and especially the teacher that's doing the class, because if the teacher can just go outside and sign you in on his or her phone, and everything goes a little smoother from there. So as you enter the lobby, we ask that you wear a mask and you make it to your mat as quickly as possible. So if you need to use the restroom, that's fine. Just you do it as quickly as possible, and we're asking it's just one person in the restroom, in the changing room at a time. Because if we touch less surfaces and minimally congregate in the lobby or changing rooms, we can help to decrease the possibility of spread of the virus within our space. For now, showers are not open for use, and we ask that only one person, I just said that, okay. We apologize in advance for this inconvenience, but this is something that we feel like will be a good avenue to keeping everything just cleaner within the space. So the idea is that you enter the space and you make it to your mat as quickly as possible. Inside the yoga room, we ask that you set up with your own mat placed on the new stickers you'll see on the floor. We haven't laid them down yet. We'll work on that this week, but the idea is that there won't be a guess as to where your mat should go. So if you have been practicing in the Annapolis speaker room for a long time, you know that there's like a certain spot that you put your mat. And so that it'll be like that in all the yoga rooms, and it'll be clear as to where you set up your mat. Make it easier on everyone and make the spacing easier on everyone. Okay, and this will help to keep our students all properly distanced throughout the class. Many students have contacted me about practicing with a mask. All students should feel free to practice with a mask if you wish. We want you to feel comfortable in our space as we move forward to our reopening. So I think there was a concern from a bunch of people, oh, I don't want to be the only one wearing a mask, and I have no idea what to tell you. You may be the only one wearing a mask, but I want it to be a place where people feel good about not wearing a mask or wearing a mask, and it's and that's the vibe. So inside the yoga room, definitely wear a mask in the lobby though. Okay, our teachers will not be doing any hands-on corrections, and you'll see our schedule is a little different. So for the people that practice at the Annapolis studio in the morning on the weekdays, like all you rock stars that come in and do back-to-back classes, this might be the biggest bummer for you, because we want the studio cleaned in between every class. So if you look on the new schedule that starts on the 22nd, you'll see there's a block of classes in the morning that starts at 6 o'clock. And then there's a big break for the studio to be cleaned. And then there's a block of classes, and then the studio is cleaned again. So there are no back-to-back classes right now. And we feel like this is just the right way to go, to have the space cleaned in between. And this is something that I know makes me feel more comfortable practicing in the space, and hopefully it will make you feel more comfortable practicing in the space as well. So a 30-minute gap or more in between all classes is what we were is what you'll see on the schedule. We don't have classes on Thursdays because we have a professional cleaning crew that comes in to clean the space, and they need a lot of time on Thursdays. So Thursdays have always been our slowest day as far as attendance. So for right now, we're not having classes on Thursday. And right now, there's no sculpt classes. There are no sculpt classes scheduled at the Annapolis location. If you feel like you're really going to miss the sculpt classes, bring your own props. And when the teacher sees that you have props, the teacher will most likely give you little modifications to do in the HIT class with your props. So we want you to feel comfortable bringing in your own stuff. I feel like there was something I was going to say about Thursdays, but I'll probably remember later on. I said this earlier, we have fewer spots for people to fill the classrooms, so be sure to sign up for every class prior to arriving to the studio. Easiest way to do that is our Yoga Factory Annapolis app. And of course, do not come to class if you're feeling any sign of illness, no matter how minor. I don't know how I skipped over this, but the teacher will have a thermometer outside when they come to see you, and they'll take everyone's temperature. We just have a thermometer that we can point towards your head, and it tells your temperature right away. And it's just one more part of how we're trying to create a very, very safe environment. Before I thank you for listening, by the way. And before I take any questions, Katie, would you like to add anything?
I think I covered most of it. Did I unmute myself?
You did, yes.
Yeah, I think you covered everything. The thing with masks, we want you to just wear them when you're entering and exiting. When you're when you're on your mat, whatever. We're not really going to have people at all congregating in the lobby. That's why we're having sign in at the door. So you come in, you go to your spot in the room. If you have to use the bathroom, fine. Same thing when class is over. Take your savasana, take your time doing that. But when you get up from your mat, don't like linger in the hallways and in the lobby. Just get outside. If you want to talk to a friend outside, that's great. Everything's like that is better done outside right now anyway. So masks in and out on your mat, it's your choice.
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
I guess one more thing that I'd like to say before you guys start asking questions is I know a lot of you have kept up your memberships throughout this time. And for some of you, that means that you had to call me with a new credit card number to give me a new credit card number to charge you while the space is actually closed down. It's just, the generosity has been amazing. And then what that normally leads to is some kind of conversation about, well, the studio is an amazing part of my life, and I want to make sure you guys are there when we're done with this. And it has really been wonderful talking with many of you on the phone, over email, over text, and just hearing about what your life has been like over the last few months, and hearing a few different stories that about how yoga has changed your life and how our studios are a big part of your life. You know, stories that I'm not able to hear in the 2 minutes that we have at the desk when everyone else is around. So for those of you that I've spoken to, thank you for sharing that it really means a lot to us. And it's great information that I get to share at staff meetings with the teachers, and it just makes all of us feel so happy to be doing what we're doing.
Yeah, we really, really appreciate you guys a lot. And that's another thing, kind of as a thank you, when we're first opening, we're having all the sign-ins only be done with people that have memberships. So people can't, like the people that just drop in every once in a while won't be able to take your spaces. You get to sign in for class because you have a membership and get to reserve your spot. People can't just sign up, pay for a class, and take one of the 7 spots in the room, you know. So we wanted to do that as a thank you for you guys, because we really, really appreciate your support.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have any trouble, you have your membership, you have any trouble signing up for our classes, you can send me an email and I can put you in manually to reserve your space until we figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. You know, 7 people in that Beacom room, that's not a lot. It's really, you know, it's a small room. I get it. 7 people is going to fill up quickly. The Crofton yoga room, the town, it's not that far away, you know? So if you, and maybe if you go there a couple of times, you might be able to work it out in your schedule, and it's a nice space, and not that busy on it, mostly all the class times prior to the shutdown. So you give that space a try if it's within your ability to get there and back for, you know, with your
Yeah, we're also offering a lot other classes there now with this new schedule too. So it's not just Bikram. We have a lot more different various styles of classes at Crofton on the schedule. So if you go to our schedule starting June 22nd, you'll be able to see for all the studios the class setup.
Katie was very helpful in designing the schedule with me. And a lot of the thought behind the schedule is, well, this will be our summer schedule, and we'll try this out for a couple months, and hopefully phase 3 starts in September, and who knows what phase 3 will mean, because phase 2 didn't mean what we thought it was going to mean when phase 2 started. But this is the schedule for now while we're in phase 2, and then when phase 3 comes around, then we'll adjust from there. And yeah. So with that, I'll take any questions.
I'll let you guys, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself so it's not everybody speaking at once.
Yeah.
Hi, Katie.
Hello.
You have a question. Oh, Buzz and I have a question. So we have the sign-in sheet in the front, right, in the beginning of class, and or you know, you're in the front. So if for some reason you sign up ahead of time and then you come in late, and some people go in the back door, is the back door still accessible or not?
That's not ideal.
Okay.
If it's every once in a while, then it's not that big of a deal. But overall, it's not ideal, especially when we're really trying to implement this.
Yeah, because the teacher probably wouldn't have the thermometer.
Yes.
So is it better to just not have it open at all and just say, hey, the front door is going to be the only access to the studio, so that to prevent it from people thinking?
I want to say yes, we should stick with just that and no late folks.
Yeah.
Well, I was just envisioning getting signed in and then walking around, so you didn't even have to go in the space. You could just go straight to your yoga mat. That was sort of what I was thinking. But
yes, I mentioned that before. Like ideally, you don't use the changing rooms or the bathrooms, but we don't want to prevent you from doing that if you use the bathroom before. Yeah. So, but you bring up a good question, Katie. Can we discuss that after, as far as
Keeping the back doors?
You know, absolutely no late students, or this is what you should do if you're late, and because we'd have to talk about that with the teachers too.
Right. Yep.
See, everything everything around the studio, I've always felt is just a little bit more loosey-goosey. Like, and that comes from you old timers. You know, remembering how strict we were in the early days with the Bikram class and everything. It turned a lot of people off, and listening to people over time and just saying, you know, what they enjoy about the classes and we've really tried to loosen things up, like people being late and going through the back and stuff like that. But with this, it's that's a different story. So we'll discuss it. Thank you for bringing that up, guys.
Yeah.
I just had a quick confirmation type question. Shame on me if I've always been able to book classes in Crofton and just never did. But I was under the impression that in the before time, an Annapolis membership, that you sort of weren't eligible, or unless you had another membership over at Crofton. Was that correct ever? And do I understand now that we can register in both locations?
No, it's always been a one body, body system. So that's why when you're on the app, you can see all the classes, Crofton and Annapolis. So your membership always included both.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
If you were part of APY, Joe, before we merged with Yoga Factory, it was separate then. But ever since we merged, the membership was good for both.
Yeah, as you know, that is the case, and I just kind of never picked up on that when the two were merged. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We'd love to have you at Crofton.
Well, I go out there, you know, pretty regularly with other things, so it's not. I agree. It's not as though it's out often the other side of the state or anything.
Right.
Yes, some people think it is.
Hey Phil, I have a couple of questions for you.
Hello, Natalie.
Nice to see you. So, if I understand right, when you come and you sign outside and you go straight to your mat. But if I come from work and I want to change clothes, can I do that?
Absolutely. Yes. The sooner you get to your mats, the better. So that way we have less people congregating. But we understand that people need to change, and we understand that's part of it. But just no showers right now.
No, that's fine. Second question is, sometimes you're signing in advance, like I have the app. Yeah. And then you need to cancel at the last minute. You cannot make it. And they say, there's a fee. You have to charge for a fee. Do we have to pay?
No, I don't know why I know a lot of people have called and told me that when they have to cancel. There's no fee for cancel. Okay. That's not set up.
Like, you know, I feel like, okay, I want to come and like, you know, I want to make sure it's, you know, it's good. Okay.
And we actually would really, really, especially right now, appreciate it if you did cancel so that we can the next year.
Agreed. Completely agreed. I'm with you on that one. You know, like it's frustrating when you have to be waiting. It's like, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Sarah, you raised your hand, Sarah from Lacey.
I did. I had a couple of questions. I've done a little research, and it says that moist, warm air combined with like turbulent airflow of breathing hard and exercising can create an environment where the droplets can spread the virus.
Yeah.
Have you looked into that, and will it affect the temperature in the rooms?
The temperature in the rooms is going to be the same as what we had before. The humidity, you'll see, you know, we only have a humidifier in Crofton because we've not attempted to humidify the vinyasa room in Annapolis. We've never needed to do that. And the Bikram room in Annapolis doesn't need any more assistance either. So we're not putting extra humidity into those two rooms. We are into the Crofton room. The forced air system, and I was talking to one of the doctors about this, the forced air system is really good for the droplets spreading out. It's because it's a forced air system, it's similar, not the same, but similar to practicing outside, as opposed to if it wasn't a forced air system, if it was just the heating elements that we had in the Annapolis room, and we didn't have air going in and out, then it'd be a different story. We also want to
both rooms in Annapolis have forced air.
Yes, and Crofton does too. We supplement the heat in the Annapolis Beakroom room with the heating panels, but we also have the forced air going at the same time. So also, while the studios are being cleaned in between, we want the doors open as well. So that's another aspect of what we're doing, and another good part of this all going down in the summer, because if it was winter, then it'd be really cold opening the doors, obviously. So, but absolutely, I totally understand what you're saying, Sarah. I think it was the Ann Arbor studio that said exactly that. Let's face it, we're in a yoga class where heavy breathing is part of it, and we're all sweating, and yeah. So yeah, that's.
I mean, you think about, like, we're doing breathing exercises in the Bikram room at the beginning and at the end, and sometimes with the vinyasa you're doing that as well. And is that the best thing to do, considering would that increase your risk to keep it? To take it away, would it decrease? I don't know.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I would say ask a doctor, but then I think you would have an array of opinions. But the Bikram class, the breathing that we do in the Bikram class, not only in the beginning to expand the lung capacity, all the deep breathing at that point, but the breathing that we do throughout the class with the room as hot as it is, and doing the postures the way we do the postures in that order, is so beneficial for the respiratory system that you could argue that that it's so beneficial that it's building your immune system in a way that is more beneficial than you possibly getting the droplets from somewhere else. But I have no idea. You know, that is a risk. I'm not personally. I want to be in there and practicing, and that's a risk I'm willing to take, because I feel like the way that we'll have the room spaced out is, and the way that we'll have the room cleaned in between, is reducing it as much as we can.
And so 2 more questions. If I should practice in the studio right now, I think I would probably significantly consider wearing a mask. Do you guys have any mask recommendations?
Jeez, I don't know. I mean, there's the N95 mask.
Yeah, but that's not good to exercise in, I don't think.
That was another thing that a couple of the doctors were saying, and again, I didn't put this in the script. They approved what I put in the script, but another idea, a thought that I said, well, what if we practice with masks? And they said that would be really, really hard, but it's a challenge on the respiratory system because of what the mask is doing. So, but if you want to practice with a mask, you should absolutely practice with a mask, and let us know how that goes, and because I mean, it's sweaty and everything.
And I have one more question. I don't want to dominate all the time here, but
that you're probably hitting a lot of points that people are thinking about anyway. So yes,
you know, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I have people in my household that are high risk should they get it. And so for that reason, I need to be really careful. Would you consider doing Zoom classes, continuing Zoom classes during this time? Yeah,
I think we will consider it, especially because of the limited amount of spaces we have in the classes. If we find that all the classes are booking up, that will really help to push us in that direction. As you know, we have a ton of classes on YouTube live. Well, not the live classes, on the YouTube channel. It's not the same because you're not getting feedback.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I'll tell you, I've been good with doing the Zoom classes. I've been happy to continue my membership knowing that I have the Zoom classes there because it is a time and a space that I have to do it if that's what I want to do.
Sure.
And so it forces me to schedule it into my day. If it
Right.
weren't there, it's hard to schedule it in.
Yeah.
And it's just, for me, that's just the honest fact.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing those thoughts, Sarah. I'm trying to put myself in your position. And but first off, I'll discuss with Katie and the other teachers about continuing the Zoom classes. We're not doing any tomorrow. That's just because we had some other things going on. But there will be a schedule of Zoom classes coming out after tomorrow, at some point tomorrow for Tuesday to Sunday. But if I were you, Sarah, I would go to Crofton, and I would get there early, and I would set up near a wall, and that way you're putting yourself in the best spot to not be exposed. But I totally get where you're coming from,
Okay.
If that's something you decide not to do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Hey, Phil.
Hello, Natalie.
I'm back.
With that French accent, you can ask.
Oh, no, don't say that. You're kidding me. I've been working so much on my American accent, but it's not working. Anyway.
He's French?
Oh, well. Hey, are you going to be able to do some outdoor classes?
Yeah.
We had a great one with Ron yesterday, actually, at this place, and it was great.
Yeah. So we've had a couple. There was a student of ours who has, and maybe you saw this. He has 10 acres out in Davidsonville, and he wanted to have.
Yeah, but then it's on the grass, right? And the grass is not easy to be stable. I mean, it's just not. It's nice on the deck, but it's not that easy, if you're on the sand or on the grass. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I did see the place on Mother's Day, yes.
Yeah, right. So that was one concern. The other concern was that, I mean, even right now, we're only supposed to be hanging out with 10 people.
That's not going to happen. I mean, if you see the news, no one. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, and if it's 10 people, then that means really only 9 students because of one teacher.
Yeah, indeed.
And so that the original thought was that we were going to have lots of classes, like a class every day out there. He even named it Jazzberry Farm. So but then it just thinking of reducing that to 9 people. And then putting that on Mind Body, it just seemed like it was going to be the same 9 people that signed up all the time. So what I did is I was having some teachers go out to different people's homes, and that's where you were able to do that. But it was never something that we really advertised. But I like the idea of doing outdoor classes, especially if I mean, I didn't even. Katie, do you know what the is there a rule on outdoor gatherings with this new part of phase 2? You have to unmute, Katie. You have to unmute, Katie.
Sorry, thanks. It is. I was wondering the same thing because now that we're in stage 2, I was like, what is the outdoor gathering size? Has the capacity been expanded? And I haven't found a good answer. Does anybody know that answer?
Well, all I know, Katie, that on Sunday at the City Dock now, every Sunday they can do salsa dancing.
Okay.
And that's more than 10 people, I'm guessing?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, they have a band and they can dance, I mean, they have it. They used to have it, and now I think it's reopened,
Yeah.
I think
City Dock is good, huh?
I think it's the social distancing. And then if you have to violate the social distancing, you have to wear a mask. I mean, just in some areas.
If you're outside, you don't need to.
Restaurants but they have certain distance, 6 feet
Yeah, I mean, at Jazzberry Farm, there's plenty of room for everybody to be socially distanced. We didn't know if the outdoor capacity was still 10, even with that. So if it's not, then there's plenty of space.
Yeah.
I believe that it is supposed to be 10, but people are not doing that. Like you said, the phase, we're still in a state of emergency, even though they continue to lift it incrementally each week, that the governor does a press conference, usually around Wednesdays at 5:00. But it is technically still supposed to be 10, but of course it's not being enforced.
Right, because if you think about like outdoor restaurants are open, like that's more than 10 people. So it's very confusing. When you hear the list of rules, some of them seem to be conflicting. So that one I've been wondering about myself. Veronica had some questions.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. And Katie, thanks for doing this. This has been really helpful and informative. Yeah, I had a couple questions, and sorry if you covered this before, but my first one was about the schedule. Is it going to be a fixed schedule week to week, or will it be alternating?
Alternating teachers?
Alternating classes and times, or is it always going to be like 6 a.m. Bikram?
Yeah, it'll be that schedule for a little while.
Okay.
But
great.
the teachers always alternates.
Okay. And then I guess my next question, assuming that I know that you guys have some folks that always like to go to like the same class. How far in advance can you sign up, and how are you going to like mitigate if there's the same people signing up for the same 15 spots, like to make sure that everyone gets a chance to?
Yeah, I want to see if that actually happens.
Okay.
In some studios, the Austin studios, I have a good friend who works there, and I believe that they are only, I don't know if this was just an idea or they're actually implementing this, but they're asking people to only practice 3 times a week for right now. And I'm not implementing that right now because I feel like with the amount of people, with the amount of members, and the amount of, we have 2 spaces and 3 rooms, 69 classes a week on the schedule next week. No, it's actually 71 because we added 2, right, Katie?
Yeah. Yeah,
so it's 71 classes a week right now. And yes, we have people that practice every day. So we shall see. I would also have a lot of faith in the wait list, Veronica. Like I feel like there are certain companies or business models I would see, oh, I'm on the wait list, and think, well, I'm not even going to show up because the wait list doesn't mean anything. The wait list is huge for our studios. If after COVID is similar to before. Oh, Tina's in San Francisco. How about that? So sorry, she just changed her background. So what I mean is that we see a full schedule of people, a full class load, 15 minutes prior to the class, and then sometimes with every passing minute, it dwindles down. So if you find yourself on the wait list, still show up for class. It's a good chance you'll get in. Yeah.
Okay, that was going to be my next one. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Helen raised her hand. Helen, do you have a question?
I just want to make one comment about the masks, and then I actually did have a question. So with masks, unless you're wearing a fit tested N95, there's really it's very little protection. Main thing for protection comes from you spreading your droplets to other people. So unless everybody's masked, it's not as much important in terms of worrying about getting things from other people, because you wearing a cloth mask isn't going to keep things out. It's just going to keep your own droplets from leaving you. And having just walked in an properly fit tested N95, I can't even imagine doing any sort of yoga in it. It's not comfortable at all. So I think in terms of masks, you know, it's either everyone does it or it's just going to be something if you want to protect other people from yourself. My one question on a completely different note is I don't see any of the kids club. Is that just going to be paused for now? That's the tricky thing with childcare.
Yeah, it's paused for now. I don't really know how to handle that at this point. So my thought was we'll just have 2 kids in the kids club at a time. It'll be really small. But then still, if I'm bringing my kids into the kids club and dropping them there with whomever's there, and now we have 4 different people in the kids club, then it seems a little pointless. I didn't really have a good solution for the kids club until things lightened up, you know. So that's why I decided not to even approach the kids club idea yet. A, because it's small and we wouldn't be able to fit that many kids in there. But B, you're exposing children to adults, and I didn't think that a lot of parents would want to do that. I think what I see when I was out and about today with my children, it was the first time that I really had them out and about anywhere. When I'm at the supermarket, even in the past few weeks, I'm not seeing children out as much. So I'm sure every parent is doing something different. They have different feelings about everything, but it just didn't seem like a direction, an avenue I wanted to travel just yet. But Helen, would you bring your kids in if we, like, how would I have to make the kids club acceptable for you? Knowing your background too. Tell everyone what you do for a living real quick.
I'm one of the ICU doctors in Anne Arundel. So that's a good question, because you make a good point that honestly my kids haven't left the house much either. But it is a major, you know, factor for, I know, a lot of us, especially during the day, being able to come to yoga. Yeah, I don't know if it was the kind of thing, you know, I don't know. I hadn't thought through it that far either.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone has the right answers. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, will you let me know?
When I figure out a way to get my children occupied. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, and Buzz and Maggie, they were the ones that asked the first question there. How old is your little one?
Oh, Kate?
Yeah.
She's 21 months.
Yeah.
So our daycare has been closed.
Our daycare is not even open.
Yeah.
Much less yours.
And it's military too. So we haven't had her in daycare since March.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been on and off, you know. I've only been at the Pentagon every 2-3 days because of this COVID thing. So Kate has been home pretty much the whole time. So I wouldn't bring Kate in there. So just because we've had her and just because of this close in the studio. So
yeah, thanks for sharing, because really when I'm reading the news or watching the news, I'm thinking about me, and I'm thinking about my father who's 70, and I'm thinking about my kids that are 5 and 7. I'm not thinking about a child that's 20 months old, you know. So it's good for you to share that. And I know that some daycares have stayed open because the parents are essential employees or something, you know, along those lines. But yeah, thank you for sharing that, because I hadn't thought about people with really young children. Mm-hmm. Next. I mean, we're not, Natalie, Ron's got to have a question.
I can't believe
Ron, say something.
What do you want me to say?
Hey, we had a great We had a great workout yesterday. It was awesome. You should have been there.
Good. I'm glad.
It was great. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was a perfect day, and it was nice being with everybody. Yeah, and it was a perfect number of people. We could have fit a few more, and we appreciated Sydney teaching the class.
Good. I'm glad.
What are we talking about? What is that class that they're talking about?
That's yeah. So
we did a B
class.
People
have requested to have a class at their home and invite their friends.
Oh,
so
got it.
Yeah.
I had a quick question.
Yes. Hi, Meg.
So for when are the doors going to open to allow students in? Is it like 5 minutes before class or
15 minutes?
15 still?
Yes.
And then the other thing is, you said that for like the resistance classes, we're not providing any like weights or anything. This also applies to blocks, straps, and everything else for any other class.
Correct.
If they want to bring their own, they can bring their own.
Correct.
Okay.
No props or rentals of any sort right now.
Okay.
So if you want to bring your blocks for vinyasa, that's great. If you want to bring your lit props for HIIT, then the teacher will help you use them for the exercises.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys start on Saturday?
No, we're starting on Monday, the 22nd.
On Monday, okay, Monday.
You'll see that schedule on there.
Okay, thanks. Okay.
Hi, Heather.
Well, I got one more. It's not really a question so much as a plug for a relook at doing the outdoor out at the lakes. First of all, I think it's very unlikely, Phil, that you're going to have 9 people every single day of the week, signing up to go to do that, just because people have lives and work commitments and so forth and so on. And with with obviously we are still in a state of emergency. What I really, we all really appreciate you guys cracking the door open on a limited basis like you're doing. But I think it's still pretty heavily indicated that outdoor is the way to go, and it's the right time of year to do that. So I just want to put a plug in to maybe give that a second thought and give that a go for a week or two to see how it goes. And if it does turn out that you have not enough interest or something else, then you turn it back off. But outdoor would seem to be something that's still worth considering.
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely, okay. I think a great idea if it can be more than 10 people, and especially with the limited class sizes in the studio, then if we could offer, an outdoor, like if you weren't able to make it to any of the indoor classes or you don't feel comfortable, we have this outdoor class that we can go to. I think it's got to be more than 10 people outside, but
yeah, it's all about social distancing. So as long as you on the off chance that some police officer rolls up and wants to see who's violating the rules, which another conversation isn't actually happening that much. If we're spread out with 10 feet between us because we got 10 acres to work with, we wouldn't be at risk of violating that. Also not violating the spirit of it and infecting each other and so forth. So that's why.
Yeah. Joe, the less of it is worrying about a police officer coming by and having a problem with it. More of it is just trying to find the moral responsibility of it, and I mean, what's another interesting part of talking with a lot of students is I've heard it all. I've heard I'm not scared that it's ridiculous that I have to wear a mask to go anywhere. To I'm so afraid to come out of my house because of X, Y, and Z. To other crazy things that are fun to hear. So my point is that we're following the guidelines from the governor because we have to do that. But another part of it is not trying to get around any, not trying to find loopholes and things like that, and just doing what's morally responsible.
Right. Which is why I bring it up. We've already heard from at least one person who's very concerned about an elderly parent at home and so forth. And and is concerned, about wearing a mask during the thing, but is, the conventional wisdom is that masks don't protect the wearer. It's all about protecting other people in the first place, unless you're wearing, a hospital type mask and whatever. So
yeah,
for that individual, I mean, the answer to that kind of thing is to do it outside. That's all. I'll jump off I also don't advocate or want to try and get around any rules or anything like that, but it seems like to me, it seems like really a no-brainer at this time of year for those people who've got the concern about parents and so forth. And maybe even you could bring your kids and they could look at the goats and so forth, and you could have a class and out there and take care of the childcare matter too for those outdoor ones. There's lots of different ways to skin the cat. So just thinking.
Okay.
Nicole, did you have a question?
I did, yeah. The memberships. For mine, am I still a member? Is it still available for me at the Yoga Factory?
Well, it's absolutely available to you. Katie, will you just will you email her about that? We have to look in the system.
Okay. What I meant to say is, how long do the memberships last? Because I know the whole COVID-19 and I screwed everything up. If that makes sense.
Are you
You're on a class card, Nicole.
Do what?
You're on a class card. They don't expire.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to bug you guys.
No, it's okay.
Helen, did you have a question, or was this from before? I'm sorry.
That's from before. I don't really know how to use Zoom. Sorry.
Okay. I have hands raised. I'm trying to make sure I get to everyone.
You're not alone.
Mike Blanche.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Bill, good to see you.
See you, sir. Did you have any questions?
No, I'm excited.
Okay.
Turn the heat up. Let's open it up.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure. Okay. Well, did you see anyone else with a question, Katie?
No, I don't think so. Let me get a shot. No.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you guys for coming.
I have a question.
Yes.
When is the next party?
Is the next party?
Yeah, a party.
I have no idea.
We have to come out of it and have fun, have a glass of wine, and have something to eat together.
Yeah.
Hey.
I tell you, it really.
We need it.
For me.
We need it. Phil, we need one.
I know.
So badly.
I know. I'd love to schedule one, but how am I supposed to do that with everything going on? So, what I was.
Not supposed to feel.
And I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Maybe this will resonate with you. I feel like one of the greatest parts of our space is going in and seeing people before the class, maybe practicing with people, maybe even having a laugh during the class or a few, and then seeing people after the class. Hearing about your day, whether it's good, or whatever you want to share with us, hearing about how your yoga practice is going, whether it's good, or there's something that you want to share with us so we can help you. But we build this community without really knowing it. And that is super special. And it's something that it's been the part that I've missed the most. Just being able to see you guys being there at a certain time behind the desk and knowing certain people are going to show up. And that goes for all the different classes that I teach. but that community aspect is still going to be compromised when we come back, because we're trying not to hang out in the lobby before class. So, but it will be there in the room, which is nice. So Natalie, your answer to when are we having a party? As soon as possible.
Hey, Phil.
Yes.
You know, my guideline is about we're here for living, not surviving. Okay. And yoga for me helped me because, you know, sometimes you get the blues and it helps you to not to get depressed. And this time, I think people get depressed. So it's a challenge, and it's good to do it, to practice the yoga. It does help me. And thank you guys for helping me to move forward and to be better, But it's nice. We're not here for surviving. We're here for living. So we're here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. It's funny. You look on social media and you see some parents and they're very transparent about the challenge of having small children at home. and sometimes they're a little bit funny, and sometimes they're just outwardly like this kind of face, like what the hell am I going to get through this? And then other people are wishing they could have that, right? So people are just in different places, and this has been a different challenge for people in many different ways, and I think when we come together in the space, it really provides something special that we all recognize, but then within us there's a unique benefit that we're gaining as well. Anyone else? Leah, does Serafina want to say hello? No? Okay. All right. Listen, as we move towards Monday, please be communicative over email as much as you can, as much as you want to be. Let us know what you're thinking. And
Phil.
Yeah.
I have a question. Is it possible to maybe not me, maybe somebody, maybe me? Some people might be a little bit concerned about, like I do have a little bit of concern about actually fitting 7 people in the Bikram room in Annapolis. And if I was to sign up, I'd kind of like to know maybe before I drove how many people were actually signed up for the class. Maybe I'd say, oh, if there's going to be 7, maybe I won't go. But if I knew there's going to be 4, is there a way that, the system can say, oh, 4 people signed up or 6 people signed up, or, is that possible?
I don't think so, Phil. Do you know?
Well, the quick answer is no, because I don't know. So I don't know if on Mind Body, when you sign up, if it shows.
Does not.
Okay.
No,
so
it doesn't.
So it doesn't show that. So Ron, you could either sign up and it will show that you're on the wait list, which would tell you that it would be 7. But even if it did, Ron, like you at 5:30 a.m., if you signed up and there were only 4 people on there, you could make the drive, and at 6 a.m. there would absolutely is a great possibility that there would be 7 people there.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. So with
some people
that,
sign up when they're parking their car in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I think if I were you, and I know where you live, go to Crofton, man. I mean, is in Crofton like 3 or 4 minutes more than Annapolis?
Yeah, traffic makes it a little bit harder than that. Are you gonna do?
I don't think traffic's nearly as bad right now, Ron.
Yeah,
no, I know.
right. Hey, Ron, I will be happy to be next to you, but not at 6 a.m. I can share my math with you, but not at 6 a.m. You know?
Well, I'm just not sure how.
I like you. I can share my gems with you, next to you. You give me a hug. I can go that far.
It is so true, though, Ron. If you don't like the idea of 7 people, Crofton, you'll have a lot of space.
No. I know that then the Crofton's going to hold 20, and then I got the same potential issues. I'm expressing thoughts that came to my brain. I'm not really sure how I feel about the whole thing.
Yeah, your brain is not good. Don't think about it. Hey, but I will share. I will next to you next time you go. Be calm, Ron. I will be next to you if you want.
Okay. Yeah. But not at 6 in the morning.
Ron, I don't.
You should be.
Ron, I don't think. I would love to see that there's 15 to 20 people in every class in Crofton.
Right. I don't think
that would. I think that would drastically change what Katie and I discussed for scheduling in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would change a lot of the way that I feel about just the potential of that space, of that Crofton space. But so many, I feel, and I don't know if this is something you guys can identify with, but so many people's jobs have changed to this format, to being online, to working from home, that I think the times that people practice yoga is going to change as a result. And I'm hoping it's a positive way, meaning that they will find time throughout the day. At one point before this happened, an 11 a.m. class was just not a possibility. Maybe it will be a possibility for more people now because they're working from home. But I don't know. That's just a guess, because it seems to me, with the people that I have spoken with, and pretty much all the folks that I know that are in the business world, they're not going back to their offices until maybe September, and that's not even looking like, if the same amount of work is getting done in this format. Some of them are telling me they're not looking.
They may never go back
until January.
Yeah.
So, but September might be a different story, because I think there's going to be a push to open the schools, and that will be a different story. So,
thank you,
Ron. Anyone else?
I didn't, not to bring up anything negative, but do you have a sort of a protocol of if there is exposure or contact tracing, or how that's going to work? Like how, obviously you're encouraging people and you're going to be taking people's temperatures, and no one should come if they're sick, but what happens if you think you've had an exposure?
Yeah. All I can tell you right now, I mean, it would have to be a case-by-case basis, but all I can tell you is that I just want to be transparent with you guys and the students. I don't want something like that to come up and people not know about it. It's important not only to you guys, the students, but to my teachers as well. Part of the reason that, and Mike always makes fun of me, Mike's been around the studio since 2007. And in 2007, 2008, 2009, the first studio was right back there. And so if I could walk back there to teach class through the snow, then we were having class. We hardly ever cancel class. And now I cancel classes whenever the schools are closed because I don't want my teachers driving in that, and maybe they can drive really well in it, or maybe they don't. So it's a concern I don't want to have. So I'd rather be safe than sorry. If something like that happened, I'd want you guys to know about it. So, yeah. Anyone else?
I don't see any hand raised emojis.
Okay. Thank you, Katie. Oh, Ron's got one more.
Oh no, that was my emoji. I just wanted to try it. My emoji finger.
Kevin, I think, Katie, would you agree that Kevin has maybe the best record for Zoom classes?
Yeah, Kevin does well on those Zoom attendance.
I think we were having an outdoor class, and I mentioned it to Kevin, and Kevin's like, "Oh, excuse me, I can't go because I have a Zoom class."
I love it. I love it.
Have you guys thought, Phil, Katie, about sending a survey out to, the folks that have membership with regards to comfort level with obviously this video that you're recording, everyone's going to be able to see it again, with regards to considering Zoom, considering outdoor. I did see Maggie, she posted on the chat, I believe it's still 10 people is the outdoor, requirement. But I'm definitely, willing to, try coming back into the class, physically. But again, if I don't feel comfortable with it, then obviously I'm not going to come back for a while. You know what I mean? And I think everyone that's listened to this, message tonight is either, yeah, they're committed and they're going to come back to the class and they're just going to say, you know what, if I get it, I get it. Other people are still on the fence, just like a little concern. So I think strongly it should be considered to continue the Zoom, because everyone that's been coming to the Zoom because of their work schedule, like you said, a lot of folks aren't going to be going back to work for a while. The Zoom has been great. I would just consider extending the Zoom, because I know this last week I wasn't able to get just one class because it was only at 12 o'clock for the 26 and 2. And when it, my work schedule wasn't picking up so much, I was able to get to a lot more of them. But elective surgeries have started back up. So my work schedule has kind of picked back up a little bit more work-wise. So I just would ask that you maybe consider doing a survey, just getting feedback from everyone and just trying to accommodate the best that you can. Obviously, as the owner with the teachers, what do the teachers consider, and making it beneficial.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Kevin, I mean, that your explanation there, and Joe, your explanation for the outdoor classes, I mean, that really, that's enough for us to examine that and look into that. So Kevin, what would be your ideal class time for a Zoom class?
So I think that the 12 o'clock is great, but then I would also add either like, a 6 o'clock, because I think you've been doing like a 5 o'clock, whether it be a HIT or maybe it's a vinyasa, but you're not doing one like after that currently. And normally we have regular classes, the last Bikram, I believe, is 6:45, typically, before all the COVID-19 happened. So possibly you could alternate if it's, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where you alternate. And again, you're just trying to accommodate as many folks as possible. But I think the consistency, and it might have been someone that asked earlier about the class schedule? Is it going to be the same each week? Because I know for myself, I know, okay, depending on my work schedule, I can either make the 5 o'clock or I can make the 6:45 in person. But now, obviously, if you have the Zoom and you're offering, well, maybe I'd be able to make the 6 a.m., in person. But if I don't feel comfortable with that, then obviously having the Zoom, if you still offer 12 and maybe 6 in the evening, I don't know. Or possibly offering when the teachers are not physically teaching in Crofton or in the 2 studios, that maybe they're able to offer the Zoom, because all they need is their laptop. They could actually be in the studio while the UV rays are going on, if they're the ones to turn on those machines, to then, because I think more so for me, and maybe everyone else could, say the same, it's the motivation that you get from the teacher when they call you out, either you're doing something good or you need to make an adjustment. And just hearing that, just knowing that you're being recognized, I think is the motivation of why we show up, and I think just seeing other folks that, from being in class, where you say hello to one another, or they kid you, tease you, Ron, about stuff, it's back to, of where you get recognized and whatnot. But I just think it's really important, to be able to offer as many options while everyone's going through this, just to feel comfortable. And then, obviously it's going to be a different story, 12 months from now than what it is right now. So,
yeah.
Maybe an idea is to offer, since we are closing the studios on Thursday, maybe we could offer an outdoor class every Thursday and see how that. I just read something in the Washington Post. So it's from the Washington Post, and I'll read it because it makes me, I'll just read it. A Hogan spokeswoman said a state order that limited gatherings to 10 people has also been lifted effective immediately. That's not on the official maryland.gov. And it says a Hogan spokeswoman says it. But so if we could offer like one outdoor class on Thursdays, if it could be a bunch of people at like noon, see how that goes.
Yeah, just try it once a week and then see what.
But for the Zoom classes, Phil and I guess we'll have to talk about that and see teacher-wise too. With all the classes that we are offering, we have to make sure we have teachers to teach all those other classes.
Yeah,
I think we could find a volunteer outdoor deck in Downs on the Severn. We have 3 people that are volunteering and happy to have it, and we could fit more than 9 in almost several of those. So just put that on your agenda. And just to say, for one druther for me, because Kevin got his druthers, Katie, I do so many of your 75-minute classes over and over again on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love the 75 minutes rather than the 60. I don't even know, like, the new ones that you do on Zoom, if they're 60 or 75, but if I don't know they're going to be 75, I'm prone to not take them.
To be totally honest with you, Ron, I don't usually know going in.
Yeah, okay.
We'll see how long this one goes.
Yeah, because the 75 is just the 60 is a little too short for me. And I love the way that you've done it with the flow. It's been awesome.
Good, thank you.
Hey, Katie?
Yes,
he even told Sydney when we practice on Saturday that we have to do the way you do it.
You like the way.
Yeah, he told Sydney, because Sydney was going to do like the 75 class, the way, and say, oh, no, like Katie said this way, you have to do something. It shows everything. Say, okay.
You told Sydney what's up.
Yeah.
I helped him along, whether he needed it or not.
Yeah.
Hey, it was my house, so house rules.
Yeah. It was good. It was fine.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for your time. And
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Bill.
Katie and I will talk about the outdoor classes and continuing Zoom classes. So yes.
Sounds good.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.